Hello, everyone. We would like to officially welcome you to our today's webinar, Enhanced Price Management with ADvendio. My name is Myriam Hirt, and I'm Customer Relationship Manager at ADvendio. I'm very excited to be co-hosting this webinar together with my brilliant colleague and product manager, Jennifer Hornibrook. And also for the ones who are joining an ADvendio webinar for the first time, everyone who's joining is automatically on mute, but you can use the chat box in the corner of the screen if you have any questions. And we will be dealing these questions at the end of the webinar. The webinar is also being recorded and it will be also sent out to you in a couple of days if you would like to listen to it again or share it with your colleagues. Okay, so let's have a quick look at today's agenda. We will first give a quick introduction into our today's topic, and then we will talk about the key challenges customers are facing. After that, we will move on to my favorite part. Jennifer, you will show us in a live demo pricing management with ADvendio. And at the end of our webinar, we will have some time, as you already said, for question and answers. Okay, so as part of this webinar, we will cover a quick and simple creation of your inventory and prices using our out-of-the-box wizards, as well as extensive price management through use of our dynamic pricing and commitments features. So, a good place to start would be, of course, taking a look at the pain points that you or your users are currently experiencing. When it comes to price management, users have reported to us that this is a very time-consuming task to ensure pricing is managed correctly. Therefore, there can be seen unclear pricing strategies as well as no overview as to discounts or surcharges which have been applied. It is very difficult to ensure accurate pricing here of inventory and almost impossible to keep track and manage advertising spend. Okay, so now that we know what to expect in our today's webinar, I will hand over to my favorite part and to Jennifer. Yeah, and she will show us around in a live demo.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Myriam, for that introduction. So as Myriam mentioned, and as all of you who are here today are aware, of course, we have a few different wizards within ADvendio, which can be used for the quick and easy creation and maintenance of your inventory and pricing. Of course, creating and maintaining as well as extending the inventory base, I think everyone knows that can be quite a challenge. So often your media, advertising and product catalog can be highly diversified and comes in many different variations. So you've got different formats, different billing types, etc. And also if you're selling across different ad sales channels, of course, it gets even more complex. So what I'll do today is just give a quick look at some of our wizards, which are available to help with this task. I'm just going to show some quick screenshots instead of jumping through the wizard. That way we can kind of show you a still and explain to you exactly what the purpose of that particular wizard is. So we will start with our ad specs and rates manager. And this is used to create new ad specs, which will contain all the information that you need for an unambiguous specification, including your pricing information. You can use existing sites, placements, and ad types, or using the little plus here in the wizard, you can also create new ones ad hoc as needed. When an ad spec already exists for that particular configuration of site placement and ad type, you're shown the existing rates like we have here on the screen, and you can make the necessary changes directly in this wizard. If you're also doing this for a digital item, so where there is a connection in your ad type, you can also change the connection IDs here directly in the wizard as well. So that is the first wizard, which I think most people are quite familiar with and have used at some point or another. The next wizard is the Create and Update Rates wizard. And what that does is it lets you manage your rates after you've filtered by certain criteria. So what this does is it helps you to keep your inventory database up to date easily. Lots of date in that sentence. So with a few clicks, you can create a new price for all ad specs which meet the entered criteria. So for example, here in the screenshot, we have I could create a new CPM rate for all ad specs with the ad type leaderboard and the rate category homepage for example, the next year. This makes quick and simple updating or creating of mass prices or mass rates. We then have our next wizard, which is the Inventory and Rates Manager. So I think everyone is aware as well, this is quite a comprehensive feature. In this, you can create objects such as sites, placements, rate categories, ad types, as well as completely new ad specs and managing the connection ID assignments. What I'm showing you here on the screen is the fourth step of a 5-step wizard. And what that does is it allows you to manage and create update rates across multiple ad specs. So here, for example, you could just select 2 different ad specs, put in the billing categories and information, and it will either update any matching rate that already exists, or if none exists, it will create a new one for you. We then have, just click to our next one, our last and final wizard for today, which is the package manager. And in the package manager, the users can create defined packages as well as assigning package relevant pricing, which is separate and distinct from the inventory, or when it is sold as kind of an individual single item. As I said, these wizards are a great way to create and maintain your inventory and prices within ADvendio. These prices are, however, of course, just the list or catalog prices, and your end sales price will depend on quite a number of different criteria. So, for example, whether dynamic pricing is relevant, whether you have any particular pricing agreement or anything like that. And these use cases are met within ADvendio in our dynamic pricing and commitment features.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for explaining these different wizards. But maybe just to make sure, Jennifer, we are all here on the same page. What exactly do you mean by dynamic pricing?
Yeah, so dynamic pricing, or maybe surge pricing, demand pricing, whatever it's known as in our users' companies, is a flexible pricing strategy where your pricing is based on market demands and certain criteria. So these are managed in ADvendio through the creation of simple price rules, and price rules are, of course, as the name suggests, rules which determine the prices of your inventory and using discounts and or surcharges. These are created with specific matching criteria which determine to which inventory they should apply. With that in mind, let's jump over to our demo org, and it's always easier to show than it is to explain. And we have a quick look in our price rules tab here. So if we look in our price rules tab, of course, I filtered by some that I've already created before. If I now press new, and you start by giving your price rule a name. So I know which one, of course, I'm going to create today. So I'll give it a quick name here. Surcharge sales price. And you then can give it a validity, so which time period it is valid for. And then I can set up the matching criteria. So if we just scroll down here in this little section called matching criteria, I can, for example, pick a particular media segment, can pick a particular site, or I can even pick a particular content. So it comes with predefined matching criteria, but you can also even create custom matching criteria if your current business needs are not met in this case. So for this price rule, for example, I'm going to create it for a specific billing category, which I believe is, where is my billing category? Here's, oh, here. So my little billing category, CPM. This is actually preset in our org, so I'll just change that. So CPM and on a particular site, which was given away, of course, by the name. And the billing category is actually a good example of a custom additional matching criteria, which is set up in our particular demo org.
Okay, that looks very interesting, Jennifer. A quick question here. So what do you exactly mean by custom matching criteria? Can our customers create these rules for other ADvendio fields which aren't really like out of the box? Or can they also use it in or on custom fields?
So both actually work. The billing category, of course, which we have here is an ADvendio package field. It's normally included, but you can also set up rules for custom fields, which they have created on other objects, which are related to the campaign items. So this gives users, honestly, complete flexibility with regards to how these rules are set up and used.
Okay, well, thanks. That's great. Yeah, and just to make sure everyone understands how flexible this feature, really is, can you now maybe continue explain that up and where they apply?
Yeah, so once I've done everything so far, which was of course deciding the name, the validity, and any matching criteria, you then decide where exactly it should apply. So here in the little drop-down menu, you can see where to apply, and I can decide from quite a range of different things. So will it be a surcharge, percentage, absolute? Will it be a particular type of discount, special discount? Um, you have kind of a complete choice. You can also do a percentage or an absolute value. So there really are plenty of options and configurations available here as well.
Okay, that's perfect. And I can see here on the screen that groups is mentioned. What is that used for?
Oh yeah, here we have our groups. So what we're
Mhm.
going to see later on is that we, when the price rules are applied in the media config, all of your matching price rules will be applied to the relevant campaign items, proportional to whenever it is that they run. So if a rule matches, it will apply and they will all sum up or they'll total up. But you can, however, also group your rules together and define a specific logic, which means that, for example, if multiple rules in one group are applicable or if they're relevant, then please either, for example, if we click in here in the little drop down just to show you, either apply the maximum or the minimum rule, so the highest or the lowest value, depending on your particular business needs. So for example, here, I will create a surcharge sales price and I'll make it quite high. So I'll make it not 200%, I will make it 20%. So this will of course be the highest in that group and we will see it applying in the media config.
Okay, perfect. So Jennifer, does this mean the user doesn't need to consider which rules shouldn't apply together?
Exactly. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just save this rule here. We will jump slightly back over just that we have our little overview of our price rules that we can use as well. And we'll open our media campaign. So I have one here and in my basket I have some items which I know match to, oh, I almost made a little mistake. If we click in here, I forgot to put my group logic.
Okay,
So
yeah.
we will do group logic. That would not have been a very good example of the groups.
No.
So non-core group one. So all of your rules that go in the groups, of course, have to have the same name. That way it identifies which groups belong together. So if we go back here to our view, we can see if they are correct. And yes, they match. So we now go back to our media campaign and we go into our media basket. So what I want to show you here is two different things. So I have two different items. I'll just go straight into my media config. So for my first item, I want to show you what happens when an item doesn't run the entire duration of a price rule. So I'll have this partially in my off-season price rule, which I've made earlier. And so for example, to be off-season, it would be running maybe in November and partially into December. And then for the second item, what I want to show you is the group logic where we're going to see this 20% rule being applied, so the one that we created earlier, not the other 5% rule, which is in the same group, even though it's matching, so we want to see the higher one matching the 20% one. So what I will do is I will put that in December so that I don't get impacted by my off-season rule. Just quickly enter some quantities just that we have some calculations going. And so now that I have put all of this information in, if I press the Apply Price Rules button, we should see exactly two different things. We'll see this modal, which will show us the relevant price rules that will apply. So here we have our 20% surcharge, which will apply to my second item. Highest in our group applies not the 5% rule. And we also have this other rule applying here, which is my off-season discount. And as you can see, the value is maybe slightly strange. It's a 73.17. And that is because it doesn't run the entire duration in the price rule. So it calculates it proportionately for you so that you know how much is relevant for which period of the given campaign item. So you use this Apply Price Rules button, and if you just press Apply here, we'll see those values automatically populated in our media campaign. you are in our media config, sorry. You have the option, of course, to press the apply price rules, or on save, they are also applied. When you use the apply price rules button, that is useful because it allows you to check which rules would be applicable given your current setup. So that way, for example, if maybe you had a rather high surcharge which would be applicable, which might bring your proposed campaign maybe way over budget, you can then adjust this accordingly directly in the media config before you press save or you've applied any relevant price rules. So this really just, helps to save time and having to maybe go back and change things again afterwards.
Okay, I see. So, so the user doesn't have to consider the validity or take any extra consideration as to how well the rule matches, or how does it work, Jennifer?
Yeah, exactly. Everything is considered and they're matched in the background, and they are applied generally across all of the matching inventory. This is just one of the ways in which your users can manage their pricing within ADvendio. It allows for applying a range of different surcharges and discounts based on, of course, an endless range of matching criteria due to the possibility to create your custom matching criteria.
That's perfect. Maybe it makes sense to underline here and explain how does this differ from commitments?
So as I mentioned earlier, dynamic pricing is a pricing strategy which is where businesses kind of set flexible prices for products or services, of course, based on the kind of current market demands which they set up via this certain matching criteria. Commitments, on the other hand, are a specific agreement which are made between, say, our users and their publishers, customers, and/or agencies. These agreements are generally made on a yearly basis, and they're often used to plan, for example, advertising spending or turnover in order to earn specific discounts or maybe rebate in kind. So if we just have a quick look here in our demo org, and if we just press new, we can see that we have 3 different types of commitments available. We have the advertiser agency discount, the agency earning commitment, and the third-party commission commitment. I think the last 2 are quite simple, so they simply set a particular agency earning or a third-party commission for media campaigns where they are matching and relevant. So therefore, I won't focus too much on those today, but what I will do is when I'm demoing the commitments in the media config, I will show a quick application of a third-party commission rule as well. But I think it makes a bit more sense to focus on the advertiser agency discount because, as you can see here, there are quite a few options available. So they can be used for the volume scaled discounts, special discounts, or rebate in kind. What I'll do is I'll quickly click into one that we've created earlier to get a better idea of what those different terms actually mean and how they affect your particular pricing. So here's one that I created earlier. And as you can see, you can create them for, of course, given advertisers. You can create them for agencies, or you can also set it up for an advertiser-agency relationship, whichever suits your particular inventory or how you have your records built within ADvendio. You can also, if you look here in the related list, set it up for participating accounts. So that way, any campaign where these accounts are used, this commitment could be relevant, of course, depending on the runtime of the particular campaign. These commitments or these agreements are usually created for a specific time period. So we've made this one for the year 2020, just to make it simple. And yeah, once you have all of that set up, you can then create different commitment conditions for this particular contract. And what those will do is they will control the price of your inventory where this particular commitment is relevant. So like price rules, they are based on matching criteria. And you can, for example, if we just click new here, you can see the examples of different ones you can create. You can create, for example, a rebate in kind commitment condition, where you can say, for example, I don't know, every 4 billboards that are booked, you get the 5th one for free. You can also do a simple special discount application, or the much more commonly used scaled discount. So along with the rebate in kind conditions, the scale discounts are a particularly useful feature for commitments, which I think most of our current customers using commitments are actually using. And what they do is they allow users to apply a scale or range of different discounts depending on how much revenue has been earned in a specific category.
Okay, thanks for explaining this, Jennifer. So how does the system know how much revenue has been earned in a specific category, yeah, and how often does this update the information?
So how much has been earned for a specific condition, that can be calculated as much and as often as you like. So as you're going to see later, matching inventory is marked as being relevant to this specific commitment upon creation, and that will be counted by a commitment counting batch, which just runs in the background, so the users really do not have to worry at all about keeping track of how much has been earned so far, which discount should now be applied. This is all done completely seamlessly in the background. So for our example today, as you see here on the screen, we have 3 different scales of scaled discount. So we have a 3% discount from 0 to just under 20,000. We have a 5% discount from 20 to just under 50,000, and then anything over 50,000 of revenue for this particular year, we want to give a 7% discount. As you can see here from the total revenue column, we're currently on 21,825 revenue for those particular conditions. That means that when we go into our media config in a minute, we would of course expect in this range here, so our 5% discount to be applied.
Okay, so let's go to the media config, I would say, right?
Maybe just before we do that, we'll have a quick show here. We're excited.
Media.
Yes, yeah, our media campaign. So
Yes.
we will have a quick look here and show you how and where the commitments are matched to your media campaigns. I may have actually already created the campaign items. Okay. So as you can see here on the side, we have this commitment selector. And what that does is it'll either automatically select if only one commitment is matching, or it also allows you to select between multiple matching commitments if there are multiple. So the commitments matched to your campaigns based on the particular accounts and information which we saw on the commitment level, so like the advertiser, the agency, the participating accounts. So as we can see here, we have 2 different commitments selected. We have one advertiser agency commitment, which is matching based on our advertiser. And then we have another just quick sample third-party commission commitment, which is matched due to the intermediary of my sample media campaign. So if I now enter the media config, we will go straight into the media config since I happened to already have them created. Jump into our media config. And what you'll see here will be the exact same if you come through the media basket, because I have my commitments already assigned. It knows this inventory matches to those given commitments, and it will, if I look in my pricing tab, we can see straight away. So for my special feature, which is covered by my scale discount, we have a 5% discount automatically populated for us. And in our third-party commission, we have a 10% discount, which comes from my third-party commission commitment, which we also have applied. So once these items have also been created, so if we just press save, as you can see here is a good example as well of how the price rules work on save. It tells you that it will apply them in the background. So when you press save, these items then, because we've had the commitments applied to them, if we have a quick look at one, we will see that they are marked as being commitment relevant. So here we have an example, and if we just quickly look for our commitment relevant, exactly, my condition has been applied and it links it to the given condition. So that way then this particular campaign item will be counted towards my revenue earned and ensuring that the correct scale discount is applied to the next item that gets created.
Okay, perfect. So that counting which you mentioned here, is it done for all conditions and not just the scale discounts, or how does it work?
Yeah, the commitment counting batch, it will count kind of all relevant information for all of your commitments. So if we look at this example that we had open a second ago, I have a rebate in kind condition, which I created earlier. We can even see here in the beginning, there are 12 units already counted. So I've already sold 12 units of revenue or inventory, which match this particular condition. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the condition here, we'll see that I have earned 3 units and I still have 3 units available. So that means I have 3 free units to sell. We can also see as well, for example, the total revenue and the total unit count here at the bottom. If we look at our scales discounts, so we saw here, for example, we had a one for under 20,000. If we click into that, There are similar counting fields like that on every condition type, depending on the condition. So for these particular ones, for example, if we scroll down, we have, of course, the total revenue, but we also how close you are to fulfilling this particular condition or this particular agreement that you have, agreed to at some point in time. And this one, for example, was for just under 20,000, and since we have, of course, over 21,000, it is 100% fulfilled. So this counting ensures that the correct discounts, surcharges, should I say, and rebates, and that it is as up to date and as accurate as possible. And so that's actually quite a good summation of both of these features within ADvendio. They are very, very powerful ways to manage your price through those wizards that we
and showing these powerful tools. And it also shows how important it is to gain all the relevant information before adding the correct price to your inventory. Jennifer, I heard that ADvendio is working on a project which would be used to make this even more accurate. Do you have some more inside information for us, maybe?
Yes. Yes, we are actually working on two kind of relevant projects for this, which are quite exciting and could be used to kind of improve the overall pricing management processes for our customers in general. So I suppose the first and most exciting one, let me just click over here to our next slide, is the AI price prediction project. So, of course, as the name would suggest, we are working on predicting prices based on artificial intelligence. Over the past few months, I've been working and gathering information from our customers about how they set their floor prices for their programmatic revenue. And based on this feedback and these discussions, we started working on an AI model which can help our users not only with their floor price predictions, but also general price predictions. So given the features that we've just looked at, I think it's quite within reason that this could also be used in the future, perhaps, to automatically maybe create price rules to help adjust your list prices in line with maybe the relevant price predictions. As I said, this is really a work in progress. So if you're interested, maybe feel free to reach out to us at support@advendio.com to get more information on this basic prediction prototype that we're going to start with. Will include ad price prediction, and maybe you can also then, of course, share your use cases with us. That's always good to get more information.
Of course.
Yeah. And as you can see here, our timeline for that is Q4 2020, and that is the basic prototype. Of course, any future enhancements, including maybe price rule creation or kind of automated price manipulation, will be a bit further down the line, but that is something that we definitely are considering. The second enhancement that we have in this area is the commitment enhancement. So as you mentioned earlier, the commitments are currently created for a specific period of time, and they are matched to your items, and the revenue is calculated based on the runtime of your particular media campaigns or campaign items. So at the moment, you can only have, as we saw in our media campaign, you can have one matching commitment per commitment type. So one advertiser agency discount commitment, one third-party commission commitment. And what we're currently working on now is an enhancement whereby you can match multiple commitments to a media campaign and also apply multiple conditions in a prorated way, kind of in the same way as we saw the price rules applying. So that way it'll give our users a bit more flexibility in controlling their pricing, where it might run across multiple commitments or multiple contracts or agreements, as well as controlling it across different conditions. So that's something that we're working on and which should be done and available in Q1 of 2021.
Okay, that sounds very interesting, yeah, and like very interesting project. Jennifer, as you know, this webinar had a really great demand, and I think it would be very interesting to know what has caused this great interest to this topic. And I think you wanted to hold a poll and ask the attendees, right?
Yeah, so as you said, since this was really a highly requested topic, we're interested to know why it is, of course, that you're interested in attending this, so that we can better prepare these kind of webinars and steer them in a better direction in future to give you more information. The last time we did this, we encountered a little bit of technical difficulty, so bear with me. We will see. So what I will do is launch a poll here now, and you can vote directly in our window, and basically is to find out if you maybe are interested in using both of these features, but you're not using them yet, or if you're here just to find out maybe about dynamic pricing or just to find out about commitments. So I will hopefully now press the button. Let's see. We have now launched the poll. Let's see how our users respond. Do I still have Myriam with me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes. The last time I did this, I could not hear my co-host anymore. So
Okay.
we'll just give just a few seconds, just I think everyone,
Mhm.
quickly click. There's no need to spend too long thinking about it. I think that's perfect, just to get some information, because we hold these webinars, the style of webinars, well, quite frequently. So that way as well, if we know you're coming to this with already a basic knowledge of these features, maybe we can, you can steer it a bit differently if you know that somebody already has the knowledge of the features as well. So I think we can actually close that. Looks like everyone has voted, which is great. Thank you very
Perfect.
much for that feedback. We will close that.
Yeah.
And then that will bring us onto our question and answer section of the webinar. So if you haven't had a chance to get in your questions yet, you have a few more minutes. What we
Mhm.
usually do is Myriam will ask the questions, and I will do my best, of course, to answer them for us here live on the webinar.
Perfect. Okay, so I will just have a quick look at our question box. Yeah, let me just jump over there and I will start with our questions. Are you ready, Jennifer?
I am indeed.
Okay. First question from our customer. What if there are particular campaigns that shouldn't be counted towards the commitments?
So if you do have particular campaigns which maybe shouldn't be counted towards the commitments or shouldn't have the commitment special discounts, etc., applied, you maybe because it's, I don't know, such a big campaign that it might skew the commitment, or you've agreed that it doesn't come under it, you can actually simply set that particular media campaign as not commitment relevant upon creation. It's just a simple checkbox, and then this commitment won't be matched or any conditions applied. So that's something that can be set either manually or through maybe a workflow or something like that.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another interesting question, Jennifer. Can both pricing features be used together?
Yes, both of those features can be used together to manage your pricing. So generally speaking, they shouldn't impact one another in any way, or maybe, for example, to say if you were using special discount in the commitments and special discounts in the price rules, of course, there might be a chance that one might overwrite the other in that situation. I think that's one of the only fields that actually overlaps across them. But this is, of course, something that's entirely up to you, which particular fields you use in which feature. And if maybe you want to discuss that a little bit further, how you can maybe set it up to the best of your abilities, you could either email our support, check out our wiki, or ask your technical account manager. But the short answer there is yes, both can and will be applied together, and they do work together.
Perfect. And another good question here is, what is the difference between commitments and the rate steps feature?
So that actually is a very good question,
Mhm.
and comes from a very keen observer who has noticed that maybe there's a potential overlap between the scaled discounts and rebate in kind from the commitment with the rate steps feature. The rate steps are, of course, also a very valid way of managing your pricing within ADvendio, and we have more information on those within our wiki. But there are some key differences between those and the commitments feature, excuse me, which was demoed here today. The rate steps, what that does is it defines a particular price when a certain volume is sold. So I don't know, when 100,000 units is sold, set this particular price. And they are not based, or this pricing is not based on any particular agreement with a particular advertiser, publisher, or agency. They instead have general applicability for a specific ad price. They also require additional steps in the media config, so the user has to fill out an additional field to ensure that the rate step is being applied, whereas the commitments are automatically generated in the fields that we saw earlier. So there's a slight difference in the
Mhm.
use cases where they're applied, as well as how the user gets them to apply in the media config.
Okay. And here's another one. Is there any progress on updating the package manager to Lightning?
That's interesting. The package
Mhm.
manager. So we are, of course, taking more and more of our features into Lightning. We're working on, the package and our step to Lightning overall. But for now, we do not have a fixed date for reworking the package manager. But we are doing,
Mhm.
of course, like I said, all of our features slowly, step by step, we are working towards it.
Perfect. Let me just look again. But as far, Jennifer, as I can see, these were all questions for now. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Thanks.
of course, as always, if you have any further questions to this topic or to any other topics, you can contact us at any time. Yeah. You can see now here our contact information on the screen. And of course, you can always reach out to your account manager and to our support portal at support@advendio.com for all your Advendio needs and requests.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any more features or functions like this that you'd like us to delve into in these kind of short, informative style webinars, please feel free to reach out to either Myriam or myself. Here's our information on the screen. So for example, we do plan on holding a similar styled webinar on the Media Search Plus and targeting in the media config in November. That will actually be our last webinar for 2020. It's been a long year of webinars, Myriam. It'll be the last one. We will take a break for the remainder of November and then December. We should be back maybe at some point in February for these webinars. We'll have our normal release webinar, of course, in January, I believe. But for these particular series of exciting, informative, feature-focused webinars, we'll be back to you in February. But
Yeah,
keep an eye out for our November one as well. The landing
yes.
page, I think, should be live. I actually didn't check before we came on today, but you probably will also get an email. If you're here today, you'll get an email inviting you
Yeah.
to that one. So yeah,
I
hope to
think
see
the
you all
day,
there.
I think the day is also already set up. I think it's
Oh,
the 18th
yes,
of November. Yeah.
yes, true. Thank you very much.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Catching
think
up.
it's yeah. We just we were just talking about that, so that's why I can say it here already. But of course, as you said, Jennifer, we will invite accordingly, as we always do. Yeah.
Exactly. You'll get an email,
Okay.
and we have the landing
Mhm.
pages as well.
Mhm.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Myriam, for
Thank
co-hosting
you,
today.
Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer, for all your good work and explaining all these things to us and to our customers. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.